Everybody has hope, and a lot of people try to deprive other folks of their hope. And sometimes hope is all somebody's got. Confidence in bigger life decisions, even as a kid, came earlier than confidence in day-to-day decisions, whether it be, academics or dating or whatever it might be. At 7 years old, I knew that I couldn't count on anybody, that I had to be independent. So everything from the comic books I read to the television shows I watched, the movies that I chose to see, were all about people that kind of carved out their own destiny, whether it be fiction or nonfiction or whatever. My whole life, people have always told me you can't do certain things because you don't have the proper education, the proper networks, you're not from the right school. And that's nothing but a big motivator, and it's carried me through to today. Even recently, when a year ago I wanted to raise a venture fund, and people said, "Oh, you didn't go to the right schools, you don't have the right networks, you never worked in private equity, you can't do that." And 7 months later, I had my first fund closing. So when I worked on Undercover Boss and I selected the CEOs for the show for the first couple of seasons, when I got done, everybody that I knew said, "What's the one magic bullet? Like, what's the one ingredient that all these successful people have?" And it isn't a great idea. It isn't passion. It isn't hard work. The most successful founders that I met in that process were all motivated by fear in a positive way. They turned it into something positive. I like to ask people, you have a great idea, you're passionate about something, but what are you running from? Because if you're not running from something, you might think there's only one big obstacle between you and your goal, but there's 1,000 smaller obstacles, and it's the day-to-day tactical obstacles that you need a bigger motivation for. Once you've proven to yourself that you can achieve one of your goals that you set out to do, like once I went from a college student without a degree to working on Wall Street, running a desk and creating a new market with one other partner. At 24, I knew I could do anything, right? So you get to Hollywood and it's supposed to be tough and you're like, this is nothing. And then people are like, you need to figure out venture capital and build products and build apps. How are you going to do that? And it's like, I'm a producer at heart. You have your vision and you corral folks to go execute for you. You pick teams, you manage people. When I was a big brother the first time, the kid was having a lot of problems in and out of school. And I took 2 of my favorite quotes and I wrote them on a card and I went to the Staples and I laminated it and I gave it to him to stick in his wallet. And I was like, every day when you think things are bad, like you take this out and you read this to yourself and it motivates you. And he went from like a 1.9 GPA to a 3 point something. And when he emailed me one day and told me how he did in a test, he referred to himself as one of the characters in one of those quotes. If you're a kid growing up today, you have more opportunity than I ever had. I used to have to, if I had an idea or wanted to learn about something, you would go to a library. You have to be driven there. You look at a card catalog. You'd hope the book was in to check out. You would read the book and then have to go find dictionaries, thesauruses, ask somebody professionally, what something meant. Nowadays, everything is on your laptop or your phone even. You can become an expert in your own little domain and draft a white paper because nobody knows that you're 16. People have no idea who you are, right? You have access to real professionals to ask them questions, to find mentors, which is the most important thing that I tell people, find a mentor. In my mind, success is, at 43, being able to not only do what I want, be validated by, serious folks, serious investors, but also help people realize their dreams and in the process create an actual business and create wealth. That's all satisfaction and success.